Posterior medial meniscus root repair through lateral tibial tuning associated with medial open osteotomy and homologous graft. None of authors has nothing to disclose. We present preoperative radiographs of a 62 years old female patient with a sudden posterior pain after slouching down the stairs. Radiographs without advanced signs of osteoarthritis show asymmetrical varus to the right knee, with a correct angle of 7.5 degrees, planned on panoramic radiographs. MRI shows signs of the lesions of the posterior medial root of the medial meniscus. We present the material need to perform the suture of the posterior medial root and the single transtibial tunnel with a flip cutter drill. Initially, we perform the antemedial longitudinal incision approximately 6 cm distal to the joint interline. We perform the subcutaneous dissection, identified and repair the hamstring tendons, and we perform the release of the superficial MCL, keeping its distal insertion intact. We introduce the two guide wires parallel 4 cm distal to the joint line, directed to the fibular head. We started the medial cortical osteotomy with an oscillating saw at low rotation. The remainder of the osteotomy is completed with the osteotomus. Always remember to preserve the lateral cortex. Using a spreader, we open the osteotomy at a predetermined degree in the preoperative planning. We introduce the contour lock plate with a predetermined wedge and start its fixation with the most posterior proximal screw. After the distal screw, the intermediate proximal screw and the distal screws are positioned, leaving the proximal and anterior hole of the plate without screws. The image shows the MU guide configured to perform the posterior medial root tunnel, the allograft to be used, and the plate already positioned on the patient, as well the lateral approach already performed for positioning the MU guide. We identified the injured posterior medial root and positioned the guide in the lateral approach and with its end introduced it into the joint through the anterolateral portal and positioned it in the footprint of the posterior root of the medial meniscus. With a 6 mm flip cutter drill, the transtibial tunnel is made in preparing a 10 mm deep bone bed for the root. After flip cutter drill clears the tibial tunnel, we keep it inside the tunnel and perform the placement of the anterior and proximal short screw, avoiding the confluence of the tunnels. We left a thread of at-bond through the tibial tunnel for transport. We prepare the knee scorpion device, passing a meniscal suture thread with two symmetrical ends over its trigger. The clamp is positioned on the posterior medial root of the medial meniscus, perforating the meniscus, and we return it to the outside of the joint. We create the loop forming the suture thread. We fold the loop over itself twice, forming double loop. We pass the free ends of the thread through the interior of the loop, and we pulled both ends, reducing the double loop. We repeat these steps one more time, leaving 2 stitches at the root of the posterior medial meniscus. We pass the ends of the threads through the loop of the at-bond thread, and we pull the at-bond thread into the tibial tunnel, transporting the suture threads to the tibial tunnel and the lateral approach. We fix the threads with an ABS button with multiple knots. We visualize the root before and after being repaired. We carefully introduce the allograft into the osteotomy. After the surgery, we observe the final radiological appearance. The postoperative aspect of the wound with 2 weeks of evolution is observed. The evolution of the patient starting low after 6 weeks postoperatively, increasing the knee flexion progressively. After the 10th week, the patient was already performing a bipedal closed kinect chain exercise. And after the 12th week, unipodal exercise. After the 16th week, the starting treadmill, elliptical and running in the sand with excellent postoperative recovery. Thank you so much.